This video is about, I was young at one point. I had young man dreams and aspirations. I wanted to be a physicist. I wanted to get a PhD in physics and theoretical physics. And then I also wanted to be an astronaut at one point. Um, I grew up very poor, so the odds of me being able to go for a PhD in physics in the United States as obviously a white man and poverty made it it wasn't happening, not in the United States. Um, if I were Indian, I lived in India or China, or I lived in China or Japan or something, I probably would have gotten a free ride, full ride, all the way through to my PhD. Since I'm a white man from the United States and I grew up in poverty here, that was never happening for me. My high school experience stopped at Geometry 2. I had to teach myself linear algebra. I had to teach myself basically everything. I never learned trigonometry until I actually went to college. I had to join the army to get money for college. It's the only way I could afford it. Home Depot paid $10 an hour. That's not paying for college. I couldn't get student loans. I had to use a Pell Grant. That's how bad it was because I was in Arizona at the time. White people, we were getting screwed. 2000, basically from 98 up, thanks to NAFTA. Yeah, thanks a lot, Bill Clinton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Bill Clinton. Fuck you forever. There's nothing you have to say that I want to hear. Anybody that still supports those two, no, thank you. I don't want to speak to you. You screwed my country up. You fucked me over personally. I posted my theory on a website that I had helped fund and build a long, long time ago. I got into discussion with a few mathematicians over in England. One of them was a student of Stephen Hawking's, and I proposed my position. It's my PhD thesis, but I'm not going to write it out because I've had several people try to demand that I hand it to them. And it's like, yeah, I understand you're a PhD student in physics and theoretical physics, and you don't have a paper. I get it. I get it. I understand. Am I going to give you my work? No. My work was hard earned. I spent months working on it. Months. I learned gravitation. I had to teach myself pseudo calculus. I had to teach myself statistics. I had to teach myself probability theory. I had to teach myself quantum mechanics, mostly through linear algebra. Luckily, my sister taught me linear algebra. My sister's actually well educated. She has 2 master's degrees, so she's well educated. She doesn't like me, whatever. But I learned linear algebra from my sister. She's well educated. She's a pretty smart person, rather intelligent. I come from a broken home, so my family and I don't really speak. None of us do. It's just how it is. We don't speak our father and all this other stuff. All the drama out of the side. So I had no support from anybody. Nobody in my family thought I was ever going to do anything. I had one uncle that told me, go ahead and get a job at a fast food restaurant. That's all you're going to ever do for the rest of your life. That's said to my face. That's fantastic. I don't get to do anything in my life. And this is basically how my family treated me. I'm a black sheep. Wasn't joking. I was outcast by my own family. I had no support, none. I ended up homeless because some friends of mine decided to, just pile on. And that's just how my life went. Nothing could do anything about it. And so I ended up posting parts of my theory on the internet on this website. Those who are aware of who I am know where it's at. Some of them have read the material. I'm not going to give away where it's at because on us, it's on you. It's on you. If you're looking to obtain a PhD, you should know how to find things already. That's a no-brainer. The guy who I spoke to ended up, he had a great career in mathematics. Great mathematician, fantastic. I've read some of his work. He's really, really good. Really good. Him and I don't agree on everything. There's a guy that also does quantum mechanics, which I ended up in quantum information theory. That's the field I ended up wanting to go into because my theory of cosmology ended up being mostly QIT and it's applied QIT and stuff like that. So that's where I ended up spending all my time autodidacting into. And we turned out for like a few conversations on the internet. I know, nothing real, because I don't have a PhD, so nobody can let me speak in front of a crowd. It's against their code of ethics. And I'll get into why I think this is not a good field to be in, because if you're a physicist, you're going to get crapped on by everybody. Everybody craps on you. You have no idea. If you tell somebody you're a physics major, they're going to make fun of you. They always do. And it's not nice. And by what I mean make fun of you, they're going to mock you behind your back constantly. Because physics is such a hard field to do anything, and everybody thinks a physicist is just sits around does math all day. And that's mostly accurate, especially if you're interested in theoretical physics like I am. And you see how Hollywood portrays us. They got a gay guy playing us on TV. That's fantastic. Sheldon Cooper, yeah, that's fantastic. And he's a mockery of a human being. It's extremely offensive. And that's how most people view us, as being severely autistic or something, because we have a passion for something so ridiculously inconsequential to most people, because they either don't understand the implications or it just doesn't apply to their life directly. So they think it's waste of time, like we have no value. And you'll get that a lot in anything. They'd rather see 500 mechanics standing around changing their brakes than a single theoretical physicist getting a Nobel Prize on anything. So you understand, because that's basically the crown of physics, is getting a Nobel Prize. Whereas having 500 mechanics make sure your brakes get changed and the other 499 people were there to inspect it to make sure the first person did it correctly. Do you understand? They'd rather have people standing around getting paid to do nothing than a theoretical physicist getting paid for a lifetime's worth of work. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're in the field of physics, it is a lifetime. You're not going to get paid out. If anything, if you even get considered for a payout at any level, it's not going to be what you think. The long term is maybe you'll work in the private sector, but you're probably going to be working with weapons. You're probably going to be designing weapons in some classified laboratory somewhere, and you're never going to see the light of day. And anything you ever do for work, you can't even talk about it, because everything you do is under a very strict NDA, which involves imprisonment for the rest of your life. And they're not joking. It's imprisonment for the rest of your life. And it's not like you're going to be Mr. Pollard over here and get released and sent to Israel. You're going to be in Leavenworth for the rest of your life, if not on a black site, some fusion center somewhere that nobody even knows exists. That's what your future will be if you ever tell anybody what it is you do. But that's your future as a theoretical physicist if you're not doing academia or just public research of some kind. It's very difficult if you're not in finance to have any money, because the majority of theoretical physicists go into finance. There's no love for you in physics. If you just get a bachelor's degree in physics and then go into nuclear science as a master's, which is what you need to work on a nuclear reactor, and then follow up with your PhD as nuclear engineering, then you might have a chance of doing something that you can publicly speak about, but everything you touch is classified. So, because you're going to be dealing with the military again, and everything you touch is going to be classified materials. It's going to be highly restricted, and you're only going to be working in a laboratory. You're not going to be doing anything fun. You're not going to be plotting your course across the cosmos with Carl Sagan for very long. I love physics. I can't imagine myself doing anything else. There's nothing else I'd rather do about. I'd like, everyone's like, oh, you like driving cars? Like, no, not really. I didn't like being an instrument nearly as much as I enjoyed physics. Not nearly as much. You actually have to have love for the field of physics to be involved in it. You can't just, oh yeah, I think I'll just do physics and then that's how it is. That's not how anything works. You're never going to get anywhere. You actually have to be able to look at it and want to understand it. Like, it's not like you just look at it and you just rigorously try to understand it, because if you don't mechanically understand it, you will not have a future. That's not a good physicist. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a 2.5 GPA PhD, and that's what we call the minimum. He did the minimum to get through his PhD is a 2.5 GPA. That's what that is. It's a 2.5 GPA. He did no extracurriculars. He did no projects that pad his resume. His PhD is essentially fucking worthless. He is a worthless physicist. He might be a nice guy. He might be pretty good at math, but he's a terrible physicist, because a good physicist wants to do stuff involving physics outside of work. Even if your work involves intense, ridiculous, stupid research on stuff that has nothing to do with anything. Because most of physics is doing intense, ridiculous, intensive research on stuff that has nothing to do with anything, because the people who employ you to do physics at that level need to make sure that what you're looking at is or is not the real thing. So if you understand that position, you have to dedicate a massive amount of time to getting yourself ready to go into a PhD program in the first place. I was being shot down in the United States. Since I am white, I had a GAD coming out of school. I did not get picked up for any scholarships. I posted my theory online. I had conversations with quantum physicists over in England and mathematicians in England, and we argued back and forth, and I finally got them to acknowledge that I was correct. I'm obviously correct. James Webb Space Telescope proved me correct. The theory is sound. All of my predictions that I said that they would find were correct. They discovered the phenomenon that I described, how it would be played out. I discovered it with mathematics, how it would play out when they found it, and they found it in 2017 or 2018. They discovered the phenomenon, the quantum phenomenon. They proved that it exists. They found the results in space that fit my theory almost to a T. And I want you to be aware, I was accepted to Macquarie University, which is the #1 physics program, PhD physics program. Wow. #1 PhD physics program on the planet, Macquarie University in New South Wales, Australia. It is the feeder school for CERN. I already said this. I got accepted to them. I'm trying to get them to send me my acceptance letter so I can show the court that, indeed, you can't keep calling me incompetent because you don't understand the conversation. Because you can't. You just don't understand the concept. And this is where I go back, and I spoke to a lot of PhDs over the years in physics. I like physicists. I get along with most of the physicists. Some of them are weird. Some of them are weird. Some of them are really, really aggressive. Really aggressive. And you have to be ready. They're verbally aggressive. They will insult your lineage. They will talk nonsense about your family. Oh my goodness, that was. And then they don't like to give you credit. You have to hold them to the fire to get them to. You need to credit me. They're like, you don't have a PhD. My name should be on that paper anyways, with or without the PhD. You're using my work. I told you where to look in the first place. You have to hold them to the fire. Now they're all avoiding my work. They're trying to move around it. There was a Chinese team that ended up working on it, and then they thanked me for the lead, and I was like, you need to credit me. They didn't credit me. It's not very nice. And they're like, oh, you'll never complete your PhD. You'll never get it past the graduate. All this other stuff. It's like, my hindrance is money. Would go back with the whole thing of why is it that I complain so much about student visas? Is because as a white kid, I didn't have any opportunity when I was growing up in high school. I grew up so poor that I looked at what I could do with how much money I didn't have, and I had no choices. I was so depressed in high school. You have no idea. Our school had no feeder program for anything if you didn't have money. It took money to take trig. Like these kids were taking trigonometry, but it was like $500 a semester. I didn't have $500 a semester. I barely had enough money to go to work and afford my extracurriculars that I was already doing. I couldn't do math class. I couldn't do trig. It came up in junior year. And by this point, I was like, I couldn't afford any of this. That's just like, I grew up so poor. My family was so poor. And it's like, I'm a white guy. I'm not going to get a work visa or a student visa in the United States. The scholarship wasn't going to people of my skin tone because of CRT and DEI and ESG was all in full force from like 94 onward. Like there was no chance I had of getting into university. Clinton was fully on board with replacing us with Chinese physicists. And we see the results now. It's all Chinese physicists. They're everywhere. And now Trump's doing the same thing. Like, I don't know about you, but as a white man in the United States, to see a president giving those slots away to a person from a foreign country, whether it be Chinese, African, or something else, it infuriates me. You have no idea how much it infuriates me. It makes me so mad to see this because I got screwed out of an education because of this program where these people could come over to the United States, take up all the available slots and all the available funding to all the students and all the available scholarships to all the students. And as an American, my option was go to Gateway Technical College. That was my option. Or go to UWM that didn't even have a physics program worth going to at that point. I don't know what they have now, but I doubt it's worth, like Harvard's not going to pick me up out of Wisconsin. Do you understand? Like this is infuriating that all I want to do was physics. And I couldn't even do it because my own president was screwing me out of the opportunity. My own president. And then when I go over and elect another president that says he's America first, he does the same freaking thing that the other guy did to me, that Bill Clinton did. So it's like this guy's like Bill Clinton again. It's the same. Bad trade deals, screwing the students over in the United States. How is a skin complexion, again, we'll go back to skin complexion, he fixed some of it, but how is a young white man with a passion for mathematics or physics that can't afford to go to a major university where he would have to go to get funding to go to a major university when they all have guaranteed funding by taking in foreign students, and he can't get a scholarship because all the scholarships are going to minorities and foreign students? How are we supposed to operate on this premise that we're making America great when we got this guy who's bringing in foreign people? No offense to foreign people, they're just victims in this instance. And we've got this guy that's using these people as leverage to pry against us politically. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how we can have this conversation in 2025. I'm 45 years old now, and I still see people with PhDs today doing physics that looks like garbage. Like They're fresh PhDs, so I understand why their skill set is still developing and their work is still developing, but there's nothing innovative. It's just rigor. Rock hard rigor. There's no innovation. And if you grind, you brute force through everything long enough, of course you're going to get at an answer for something new, but you're not going to innovate. You're going to only extend the knowledge base from what your understanding is now. And this is why I'm making this video, is because your comprehension of the problem is incorrect. I said it 23 years ago. Your interpretation of the geometry itself is incorrect. Your geometry is wrong. Your interpretation of the Minkowski spaces is incorrect. I said it back then. Your interpretation of all this stuff is incorrect. It's wrong. And I like cosmology just as much as QIT, but your interpretations are incorrect. QIT is just as bad. They're just as bad in QIT. Your interpretations are incorrect. And I said it 23 years ago, and I got lambasted, man. I got roasted. I expect to get roasted by PhDs for saying that they're incorrect in their math, and their interpretation of the math is incorrect, and the results in their outcomes, that their predicted outcomes are within a percentage variable of incorrectness for them. And I said, well, you could be more accurate if your interpretation was correct. And I'm not going to go any further. I got roasted. And then I proved it to him. He knows it. And he knows who he is. I don't know if he's still at Cambridge. I haven't spoken to him in like 10 years. But it's crazy. It's crazy. And we have a president doing the same thing. And he's over here saying, you're not talented enough. Are you fucking kidding me?